Hi everyone, today we're going to be going over the upcoming primaries that will be taking place today, the 1st of September 2020. I'll be giving my run through of predictions for each of these races. So firstly, we've got the Markey Kennedy race here, Massachusetts Senate. This has been really back and forth. I mean, very early on, you saw Kennedy with a big lead over Ed Markey. That's what made him jump into the race, I assume, by a large part. And then you saw Markey slowly chipping in to Kennedy's lead, putting out various policy platforms. Seems to be running like a Bernie Sanders or an Elizabeth Warren kind of figure, and then Kennedy seems to be running more like a Pete Buttigieg figure. So this will be a proxy war for the progressive versus centrist. This is Markey and Kennedy. This has been going on for quite a while. Whoever wins the primary wins the seat virtually. So it's going to be interesting to see how each of these folks do. Just going over some of the data that we've got here. If it's gonna, there we go. Alright, so this is the polling averages here from Real Clear Politics, and overall it shows Markey with a pretty good lead over Kennedy, and it seems that Markey's lead has really stabilized. We haven't got polls all that recently other than this one here from Emerson, 56-44. Markey is a plus 12 right now, favorite to go on and win this primary. Data for Progress 50-43, Suffolk is 51-41, UMass 52-40, WCVB and Amherst is 51-36. So this is going to be interesting. However, it's worth noting that Nancy Pelosi has endorsed Joe Kennedy over Ed Markey in this primary, and Pelosi's endorsement could be a significant boon for Kennedy as the race has tightened in recent weeks. AOC, this is like really just quite a proxy war for this, quite a sort of in-depth kind of mini mini race compared to the presidential race. But you kind of have Sanders and Biden, 2.0 in Massachusetts here with Markey, Kennedy. Pretty much all the centrists have lined up behind Kennedy. All of the progressives have lined up behind Markey. AOC has lined up behind Markey, and even though Markey's taken some bad votes, he has reimagined himself as a progressive figure. One progressive, probably still considered the leader of the progressive movement, one Bernie Sanders, has not endorsed Ed Markey in this primary. So that is gonna be interesting to see how, because Sanders obviously is not going to endorse now, but to me it was quite surprising Sanders didn't jump in, because he jumped in for Cori Bush in her primary. He jumped in for Monda Jones, I believe. He jumped in for Jamal Bowman. He jumped in for a lot of these folks in Congress who are in primaries. But Markey Kennedy, I don't know if there's something between him and Markey that he doesn't want to endorse Markey, but it certainly does seem for progressives it's a bit disappointing to see Sanders stay out of this one, because that could really provide a big boost to Ed Markey if Sanders were endorsed him. And I reckon that if Sanders had endorsed him, that would pretty much lock up the race for Markey. But he decided to stay out. Maybe if he endorses Markey and Kennedy gets in, for him that could be a bit awkward. But I feel like, it's sort of bigger than personal gripes in terms of the progressive movement for Sanders. So that's why I'm a bit surprised he chose to stay out of this one, even though AOC is going all in for Markey. So moving on to the next race here, the Alex Morse Richie Neal race. This is the 1st Congressional District primary. It's not the United States Senate, my apologies, it's the United States House of Representatives. But the Morse Neal, this one, This one has been hotly contested on both sides. Some group, Sunrise Movement, has gone all in for Morse. AOC has thrown her support behind Alex Morse recently. And it's going to be interesting to see who turns out on top. Richie Neal as an entrenched incumbent in Massachusetts. It's going to be interesting to see if he can hang on in that race today. So let's go ahead and take a look at, let's go here. So these are some polls that we've got out from the race. We've only got 2 polls that have come out in the past month or so. These are the only 2 polls that have come out in this race, so that's a bit disappointing that we don't have more accurate data. But the most recent poll, and it's also a public poll, not an internal poll, shows Richie Neal leading Alex Morse 49-40 in Massachusetts first. So that should be interesting. And then this is an internal poll from the Morse campaign. This poll shows Holyoke Mayor Alex Morse within 5 points of Richard Neal in the House race. So yeah, if Morse is going to pull out the upset here, he needs to run up the score in places like his hometown of Holyoke, Massachusetts. He's going to need to run up the score in progressive areas. Richie Neal, in order for him to hang on, he's going to need to run up the suburban vote. He's going to need to run up some of the African American vote in cities. He's going to need to run up the Puerto Rican community, which is significant in this district. So he's going to need to do a lot of things in order to hold on. But Morse, I mean, I got to be honest, Morse, it does seem like an uphill battle still for him to win this race. There was a bit of a campaign against Morse using unfair smears. However, at the end of the day, it does seem that some of those may have paid off in this race. So moving on, let's see if we can get this to change. Often doesn't like to change. Alright, in the Massachusetts Senate race, this is my prediction for the Massachusetts Senate race. Ed Markey, we're going to predict Ed Markey does hold on. And in the Massachusetts 1st District, that's a mistake there, apologies, but Richie Neal, we project Richie Neal, we're predicting that he will go on to win. Again, no results are coming in yet, but we'll be sure to update you when the full results do come in from these results. There are a few other races in Massachusetts worth keeping an eye on, but these are the 2 main races, and the other ones, I mean, there could be an upset, there could be I mean, any of these people could pull, an AOC on us, but at this point, it does seem that most of those other incumbents are going to hold on, and Markey's going to hold on, and Richie Neal's going to hold on. So it could be a bittersweet night for Progressive. They lose out on Morse, but they could hold on with Ed Markey. And I think this primary has moved Markey to the left, and that could help Progressives in order to get them on their side. So that's it for today's video, guys. Oh, and by the way, if this race is close, if the Morse-Neal race is close, that could even move Richie Neal to the left, because if he just stays the same, then you know he could get another primary. I mean, if this is a 5-point race, Alex Morse could run in 2022 again against Richie Neal, or you could get another progressive insurgent. Generally, the ones who run again tend to do better because of name ID, but yeah, the Morse-Neal is definitely one to keep an eye on. The Markey Kennedy as well. So yeah, that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. So my predictions: Markey holds on, Neal holds on in these races. Thank you for watching, and good night.